my first question to you is, what does a business coach do? And what is business coaching anyway?
So there's different degrees of business coaches. And what I would say for a lot of business coaches come into a business, help an entrepreneur, help a business owner, find their blind spots and give them solutions that they don't yet have. The reason I say it to people is, think of it like this. No one purposely gets low results. Like, we don't wake up and go, do you know what? I'm going to really suck at sales. I'm not going to do that well. Everybody, excuse me, everybody out there goes off and does exactly what they think is right. And what a business coach does, rather than a mentor, a business coach will come in for a period of time and help you get a specific result based around your needs. Whereas for a mentor, a lot of the time, a mentor is someone which is a long-term relationship, often free, where they're going to be sharing their life experiences. But a coach is going to be very tailored on a certain area. So, for example, with me, I'm a sales and business coach with my emphasis on the hardwired skills that people need, not to become pushy in sales, but to be effective in sales based around a number of areas. One, what your needs are. Two, what your business does. And three, what your personality traits are. Because all of these make a dramatic difference to the type of coaching you would need, and also the type of skills that you'll necessarily need.
Right. I understand that totally, and I never hired a business coach before. So I'm getting ready to do that. And I think what I need mostly is a coach to guide me in the business and a sales coach.
Yeah, I agree.
Marketing coach and sales coach, because I've been working all alone.
And that can be hard. And it can be, the good thing is with a coach, so one of the interesting things that I do, which is a bit different to a lot of people, you'll probably find. So a lot of people with our coaching, my clients can contact me on WhatsApp on a daily basis. So we do like an intensive 120-day program, because like you say, it can be a lonely excursion on entrepreneurship. And being a grandmapreneur, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, if you're the only person in the business, it's hard to bat off ideas. And one of the real great things is, say, for example, now we're talking every day for 120 days. It builds a real strength of your core up. It adds the skills, but it gives you a real support and accountability as well, which I think is really, really important.
Exactly. I think the accountability is so important, but you have to know what to be accountable for.
Very much so.
So you're the one who advises and gives like little homework assignments?
Yeah, very much so. So for a lot of the people, when they start with me, we do a couple of things. We do a DISC assessment, which breaks down like a personality traits to know what type of personality you've got. Then I actually have a structured questionnaire, which really sets the standard, where you are, what you need. Think of it like this. Imagine now that you're stuck in a forest and you're trying to get out. You want someone who's got the experience to know the route. The problem is, if I don't know if you're in a forest or in a desert, the tools that we need are going to be very different. So what I do as a business coach is have a questionnaire which identifies where you are, what you have, where you want to go, and the methods you've tried so far. And at the end of that, then we've got a clearly defined step-by-step process. We can do A, B, C, D. You do this here, then we do this. And it brings us on that path and brings us out to the right place where you want to be.
Wonderful. That sounds great. So I'm going to ask you some specifics a little bit later, but I want to know what are your strengths, David?
I've got a very good BS detector. So I'm great at spotting the bit, because with a lot of people out there, we get very used to defending ourselves subconsciously. And those become very hardwired and very ingrained within us. So I'm very good at being the person that can very nicely, but effectively have a conversation, spot what you're really saying. And I hear what's behind the words quite a lot of the time. So a lot of time people will tell me, well, I can't do this and this doesn't work. And then we can really delve into where it is so that we give you the right map to come out. So one of my big strengths is that I think another strength of mine, but you can see it as a weakness, is I've got a very direct approach. If we're going to be on the phone call for an hour in coaching, I want to make sure that you get the most out of that hour. right? Where I know for a lot of coaches, and some people like that, they'll spend a good 20 minutes at the start talking and chatting and being fun and friendly. They spend 10 minutes at the end winding down, but that means you only get half an hour of actual coaching. But I know for some people, they like that, and that's great. But if people are hiring me, you're hiring me to help, not just to be a friend.
Exactly.
So
exactly. That's absolutely wonderful.
good.
I like that. And so you have a lot of clients, and what do they say about you?
It very much varies. I think for a lot of people out there, there's a lot of surprise with people, because a lot of people, when they start doing anything for, sorry, my computer's suddenly going crazy. A lot of people are normally very surprised on the high end level of results that they get. Now, the reason being is when we are going off and we're actually taking a step into coaching, you're never going to be 100% confident it's going to work. There's an element of we're going outside of our comfort zone.
Right.
And if I can get people with some short-term wins pretty quickly, that always impresses people. So I had someone recently, and their message after our first call was very much, oh my God, I can't believe how great this is. And so it's that shock factor, because what happens is people have a conversation like yourself, you decide, you know what, I think this guy can help, but we have an element of doubt. And then once we prove that wrong and your fans become real raving fans and they start getting those results, and I get the message all the time, oh my God, this actually works. I'm like, well, of course it works.
Right.
So for a lot of people out there, I think people are surprised, because a lot of the time I'll try and make sure that I go the extra mile. And I think with the way that we've set up the coaching now, most coaches say you might spend half an hour every week together. But with mine, where you get an hour every 2 weeks, but you get me every day, I'm really immersed into what you're doing. And people feel that passion. They feel the enthusiasm. So they really get that. And I think that's one of the real good things. So I think people find a lot of great results. They really seem to respond to the direct approach that works, because people like the no BS approach. So yeah, I think people find me surprising, trustworthy, reliable, and accountable would be some of the main words I'd say.
Okay, I love those words. That's great. And I looked at your website, and apparently I don't really understand what you do, but I guess that's not so important. You understand it. So anyway, I want to ask you, is there some kind of client, this is two parts. Is there some kind of client you love to work with, not the business, but the client, and some kind you don't want to work with? Like, do you ever refuse a client?
Yes. Yeah, quite a lot of the time. So when we go through and people come in for a Calendly booking for a free strategy call, we'll have a series of questions. And those questions aren't to trip people up. They're very much to find out the type of person you're dealing with. And in the first 15 minutes, we'll talk, because I get a lot of yeah, but people. And yeah, but's fine. But they'll be like, I want help, but I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. Now, a lot of the time, people put a lot of time and effort into a business or an idea or a plan. And if people are glued to that ideal and they won't, or they're always going to question why to do this or why to do that or why to do the other, it really slows down our growth. So I like for the fact when I turn people down, I will always say to them, listen, I don't think I'm a good fit for you. And here's why. For example, I don't feel that you'll implement what I say. And a lot of the time, some people want the huggy, friendly, life coach type of way. And that's what they really want. Some people get a lot of good feeling inside by hiring a coach that's going to work on mindset more. Now, I can help with mindset, but mine's about, okay, this is where you are. I'm going to get you help to here, and we're going to take this drop to get there. So I think for a lot of people out there now, it's about, there's so many people out there that do coaching that we really want to make sure we find the right people. And also, because if I'm going to work with you for 120 days, there's nothing worse than working with, I had one instance, I've been working with someone for a week, and I was like, this is weird. It was almost like pulling teeth. And they're lovely people, but as a compatibility for coaching, it wasn't great. And after a week, I said, listen, I think it might be best if we just cut ties, and I'll refer you to a few other coaches you can try. So often I'm very picky about that, because I like dealing with, we're doing stuff at the moment, we're going to move more into doing corporate stuff, which is great because you can go in and make a massive impact on a big team. But I very much like the one-on-one interaction on dealing with a business owner, dealing with an entrepreneur, or someone who's got a small team, and you're helping them go from here to there, to there, to there. You're helping with their team, and you really get immersed in their values, their belief system of what they're trying to achieve. And when you know, especially even after 6 months, a year later, and you talk and you hear what they're achieving, it's great to see real progression that they've made. And I love that. So the smaller ones are often, you get more impact into them. So I like that a lot.
Well, that is wonderful. I love everything you're saying, because a new business owner doesn't really know what they don't know. And you do.
Very true. And that's the hard thing for a lot of people, because if we're at level B now, we've got, okay, we went from A, we've got to B. The knowledge that got us from A to B is not necessarily what's going to get us to C. And a lot of people, sometimes you have to let go of what happened in A to get to that next level. I talk about it like car gears. Starting a car from a standstill needs first gear. The ratios work well. But if you're doing 80 kilometers on a motorway, you can't do that in first gear. There's got to be a change in gear. There's got to be an alteration. Things have to move to do that. And a lot of people are in first gear and they're too nervous to come out of that first gear to get to that next level. And that's normally where we'll decide that we don't want to necessarily work together, because you can work out by a series of questions where they are now, where they want to be, and what will happen next.
Okay, this is wonderful. So David, I'm going to get a little bit more specific now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I was a college writing teacher, okay, for over 40 years. And I retired at age 68 because I wanted to become an inventor. And my invention was for I solved a problem for me.
Right.
For example, when you get older, after you get 50, the eyes start going downhill. Your vision gets worse. And it's really hard when you're retired and you want to go out to dinner with people and you can't read the menu.
Right.
Because the print, the older we get, the smaller the print and the restaurants are dark. So I invented this product, and it's called Tip and Split. And what it has a magnifying glass so you can read it. It has a light on the back because we have to always look for candles to read it. And then you can actually figure out the tip and split the bill in 3 seconds. So I had a lot of success with it, but I did it by myself. Well, the only help I got was my ex-husband, who's an engineer in satellite communications. So he did all the algorithms for me. So that was wonderful. So I had a lot of success with that. I actually wrote a book about it.
Fantastic.
And the name of my book is How I Got My Product on QVC, The Today Show, The View, and more in my retirement. And so I was having so much fun getting publicity. Okay. And then I sort of took a hiatus during COVID, because I do not want to encourage older people to go out to eat in restaurants. Yeah. None of us did. So I actually started on a new project.
Right.
And my new project, I'm just giving you a little bit of.
Yeah, that's fine.
My new project is called Write Your Selfie. And this is because people, I meet so many people whose grandma just died, and they wish they had known about her, some facts before she died. So because of my age, I want my children and my grandchildren, I have 6 grandchildren, to know all about me long after I'm gone. 1 second. I'm sorry, I should have had this.
Yeah, don't worry, it's fine.
So this is actually my book. And I call my program Write Your Selfie, because young people always take selfies. But old people do not take selfies. So this is a chance to write your selfie.
I like it.
And
it's interesting you say about it. So I've got a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. And every month, I have done for about the last year, I set them both up an email address. And I actually write to them and I send them it. And when they're 18, I'm going to give them access to all these different emails from every month of our lives.
That's wonderful. So my idea was to do it, some people write their memoir and it's 1,000 pages and nobody wants to read it. So mine is very easy to read because it's all pictures and pictures and captions.
I love it.
Okay. And so this is an interesting one. It says here, notice my mom with the family car. I was born in that car. I think it's a Plymouth. I couldn't quite make it to the hospital. So I have so many stories. I think that my grandchildren love my stories. Then I have one very special story that I have that I didn't even know. And that is that my grandparents immigrated to the United States in 1912, and they had to cancel their trip because my grandma had morning sickness. And the trip that they canceled was on the Titanic.
Wow.
And my mother never told me that. I found out when I was writing my story. I interviewed my relatives, and I found out that information that I didn't know.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah. So there are so many stories that I have because I dug into it and I did research. So my new thing is to help other people write their story with pictures. They start out by going through all their pictures.
Yeah, I like it.
And then they write captions of it. So that's my newest project called Write Your Selfie. So I have 2 projects going on. So my question to you is, how would you coach me?
Okay, well, it depends on a number of things to start with. If we talk about the tip and split to start with, I would focus on, if we're going to focus on one for now, which one would you rather talk about?
I'd rather talk about Write Your Selfie.
Okay. So if we're going to talk about Write Our Selfie, first thing we need to do is think about the audience and where they are. How do we contact the most amount of your audience in the easiest and the lowest friction way? So utilizing places like Facebook, because that's for a higher demographic. Also reaching out to the larger companies and the family-based businesses, insurance companies, by getting data of people that are over the age. I mean, what's your age bracket you want to focus on?
Well, probably over 60. Okay. But what I'm focusing on now is I never knew how to do Instagram because I wasn't good with using my fingers on the phone. So I hired a social media, an Instagram person, and I told her I want to focus on 40-year-olds.
Yeah. Because
this is a great project for somebody like you to do with your parents.
Yeah.
It's a bonding thing.
That's what I was going to say, because if we find all the places where you've got all the the people that are of the age to do it, but then you create some very sensible videos and advertisements that will appeal to the sons and daughters. So like my age, like the 40, 50-year-old.
Yes, yes.
Grab the memories of your family now while you can.
Right.
You remember the old... you'd always hear the stories about the old Italian lady's favorite grandma's recipe that would disappear for a lifetime and all this type of stuff. So I tailor it on these type of emotions, and you use that to get into a very simple lead generation that would grab people's data. They'd add emails and phone numbers. And then once you've got that, we use Facebook pixels. I don't know if you've used them, but it basically, in short, when someone goes on the website, say if you've been on the site, the pixel will know it's you, and then it knows to show you more adverts from that same thing. Okay. And then we set up a series of advertisements and marketing to focus on the people that have engaged with our posts to show them further content. And now there's 4 main steps that we go through. Imagine it like a pyramid. And at the bottom half of these people, it's 60% of people are sort of problem unaware. They don't know about your product. The bracket above is 20%. That is problem aware, or people who know you. Then you've got 17% of people that are in an information gathering stage. And then at the very top, you've got the buyers. And what we do with our marketing is we first and foremost start getting people to know who you are. They start knowing about the product, and we start building the interest. And as they move up, and then we start building into why they would like it, the benefits of having your product, the emotional attachment to get them into it. Once they then start taking in that information, They start asking questions. We start talking about the different benefits of it, the long-term thinking, the generational information, and that brings them through into a call to action. That is a very short version of what you would do.
Well, I'm glad I'm recording this because you're wonderful. Because you see, I know that people my age do not go on Instagram.
No.
You know, or of course they don't go on Clubhouse. You know, so
I think what you would be the best partnership would be to do is to utilize with Facebook and Facebook groups, where actually we would find what we would end up doing is building a relationship up with people that have got large Facebook groups, but have got a following of an age bracket you're interested in, and then we target the people in those groups to start shining a light on your product.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. So, you know, you are great. And my last question to you is, what should be the outcome of a successful coaching process?
Okay, the results that you want. So it depends where you are. If you've got a new business, so say if we jump on a call tomorrow and we're sat down and you say, okay, so the business is brand new. My goal is to get to £10,000 a month or $10,000 a month. What we do then is we work out based on your product, the price, the exposure, the ability on social media, our budget, everything in there. And then we reverse engineer back from a 120-day period when we'll finish on what we need to do at that point. And then we work out, okay, what would we want that outcome to be? Okay, and you'll be like, okay, well, David, I want to have 10 to 15,000 pounds worth of sales a month. I want to be working this amount of hours. We want to have a team of people that will help me do it. I want to be right. And we start building up our criteria, almost like a Christmas list of what your dream is. And then we break that down into individual steps that are manageable and appropriate around what you want to do. Because for each person, very much what I do, it's not a cookie cutter fit. Everything is unique. You are not a cookie cutter fit. You are a unique, amazing woman with an amazing business. So with that, every single area needs to be bespoke around what you need. But yeah, that's very much what I would say.
You know, I'll tell you, this interview has been wonderful. It certainly has helped me, and I'm hoping that this will help a lot of other people.
I hope so too.
Who are looking for a coach and want to know what exactly they can get out of hiring a coach. So I appreciate this, really.
You're very welcome. I hope to talk more. It's great. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.